Hello there, hope you're doing great. Welcome back to another session on cryptography. In this session, we'll be taking a look at what is man-in-the-middle attack. We all have understood what is Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange. So I have posted a video on Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange, and the prerequisite for understanding man-in-the-middle attack is Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange process. So I'll be leaving the link for that lecture video in the description below. First, go through that lecture and then come to this lecture. So we know what is Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange. Let's have a quick recap of that. So Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange is an algorithm that helps two parties to have the same key, and these keys can be used for encryption and decryption. So I'll give you an example here. So we have two parties that are going to communicate. So we have Prince this side and we have Kevin this side. So you can think of Prince and Kevin to be two persons or two systems that are going to communicate with each other. Let's start the process. So first thing is both of them should agree upon a key, and this is symmetric key. So they are going to use the same key for encryption and decryption. So how this starts is they first agree upon a prime number and a generator, which is a primitive root of this prime number. So this is in the public domain, prime number and generator. Both Prince and Kevin agree upon this data. Next, what Prince does is he chooses a private key. So here the value of A he takes, the private key is 6, and then he computes the value of capital A, that is nothing but G power A mod P. G is the generator with the value 5, A is the secret key that has a value 6, P is the prime number 23. So the computation of A is 5 power 6 mod 23, which yields the result 8. Next, what Prince does is he transfers or transmits the value of A to Kevin, and what Kevin does from his side is he chooses a private key, and we call the private key of Kevin to be B with a value 15, and Kevin computes the value of capital B, and that is G, generator 5 power B, that is 15, mod P, that is 23. The computation of B leads to the result 19, and Kevin transfers the value of B to Prince. So what Prince does with the value of B that he has received from Kevin is he computes the secret key S, or the shared key S, to be B, that is 19, power A, that is 6, mod P, P is 23. So he gets the shared secret key value to be 2. Likewise, Kevin takes the value of A and then he performs this computation from his end. So he receives 8 power B, the secret key is 15, mod P, P is 23. So 8 power 15 mod 23 will lead to a result 2. So at the end of this process, both Prince and Kevin, they have got the shared secret key, that is 2. So from now on, say if Prince is going to send the message hello to Kevin, he is going to encrypt hello using this key 2 and any encryption algorithm like AES. So the key used here is 2, and this will lead to C1, that is the ciphertext, and he will transmit this ciphertext to Kevin. And how Kevin can decrypt this ciphertext is he has got the same shared secret key too, so he's going to use that key to decrypt and get the message hello. So generating the shared secret key, so both the parties having the same key on both the ends, that is achieved using Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange process, and that's how it happens. Now we'll see the weakness of this process, how a man in the middle can exploit this process. So let's have a visualization for this. So we'll again start this process. So again we have Prince on one side and Kevin on the another side. So they agree upon the prime number and generators. So generator, so it's actually not generate, it's actually generator, which is a primitive root of this prime number. So what Prince does, he selects a private key, as usual A is equal to 6, and then he computes the value of A, that is G power A mod P. G is 5, A is 6, that is this private key, mod P, P is 23. So he gets the value 8. The next step what Prince does is he transfers the value of A to Kevin. he wants to communicate with Kevin, so he transfers the packet. And while the packet is in transit, so here we have the hacker, who is the man in the middle. He is intercepting the packet, and what he does is he prevents the packet from reaching Kevin as such. And the hacker now computes. He chooses a private key m is equal to 3. So hacker is also having the information on the prime number and generator, which is in the public domain. So he takes a private key m is equal to 3, and then he computes the value of capital M as g power m. So what is g? G is 5. 5 power 3 mod p. P is 23. So he is able to get the result 10. Now he sends the value 10, m is equal to 10, back to Prince. Now Prince believes that this m has been sent by Kevin, and what he does is he takes this m and then he computes the shared secret key. So what he does is this shared secret key I have given S1 to be m power a mod p. A is the private key, that is 6, which Prince has chosen. So it is m is 10, 10 power 6 mod 23. So the shared secret key, or we can call this as session key 1, to be 6. And what the hacker does is he received this value a is equal to 8, right? So he is also going to compute the shared session key or the secret key. So here S1 is equal to the value of a is received, a power m, m is the private key has taken, mod p, p is the prime number. So that is 8 power 3 mod 23, so it is 6. So now Prince and the hacker both have the same session keys or the secret key. But here Prince believes that he has sent 8 is equal to 8 to Kevin, and he also believes that m is a value that he has received from Kevin. So what is Prince's perspective here is this 6 is a shared secret key he is having with Kevin. But what's happening is the hacker has intercepted the packet and he is sending his own values to Prince. So the session key that has been established between the hacker and Prince is 6. We call that S1, the session key S1. And what Kevin is doing from his end is he is selecting a private key, b is equal to 15, and he computes the value of capital B to be g power b mod p, and this is part of the key exchange process. So what is the generator? That is b, that is 5, and 5 power 15 mod 23, so he gets the result of b to be 19. So now Kevin should send this value 19 to Prince, so he transmits the packet, but whereas the man in the middle intercepts the packet, and what he does is he is going to transfer the calculated value of m to Kevin. So now Kevin receives the value of m, believing that he has received the value of m from Prince, and what he does is he computes the shared secret value or shared secret key, that is the value he has received 10 power b. B is the secret key that he has taken 15 mod 23. He arrives at the shared secret key of value 5. And what the hacker does, he has intercepted this, he has got the value of b to be 19 from Kevin. So he is able to compute the shared secret key 2, that is b, that is 19 power m, that is the private key 3 mod p, p is 23. So that is 19 power 3 mod 23, that is 5. So now the hacker and Kevin share a key, and that key is 5. See, here is the catch. Kevin believes that he has sent 19 to Prince and he has received 10 from Prince, and he thinks that he is sharing the key 5 with Prince. But actually he is sharing the key 5 with the hacker, who is the man in the middle. So hacker, who is the man in the middle, has established a secret key with Prince, that is 6, and he's established a secret key with Kevin, that is 5. So now let's see what happens when Prince wants to transfer hello. Say Prince takes this key 6, which is the key, and he encrypts hello. Say we get the encrypted ciphertext C1, and this message is sent to Kevin, whereas the hacker intercepts it and then he decrypts that C1. He can decrypt it because he is having the same key 6. right? So you can use the key, and you can use the session key S1. You'll be able to decrypt it because he has shared that key with Prince, and you'll be able to know what the text is, what the plain text is. So he is able to read the message, and what he can do is he can very well take the session key 2 and encrypt hello again with session key 2 to get ciphertext 2, and then he can send the ciphertext to Kevin. So Kevin, he can decrypt it because it was encrypted with this session key 5. He can decrypt using that session key, and he'll be able to get the text. See, actually this text was transferred from Prince to Kevin, and they both have been able to transfer and receive. But one thing is, the hacker has been able to decrypt and encrypt it again. So he can also read the messages that are sent from Kevin to Prince. So he encrypts using the session key 5. He will decrypt using the session key 5. And then he will again encrypt it using the session key 6, and he will send it here. So here he can decrypt whatever message comes using the session key 6. So like this, the hacker acts as the man in the middle and is able to decrypt and encrypt the messages that are transferred between two parties. And this happens due to a weakness in the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange, wherein we are not authenticating the senders. So this is man in the middle attack. I hope you are able to follow this numerical. That's it for now. I'll be catching you up with another video soon. If you have any queries, you can leave those queries in the description below. Thank you.